Hi dear students, today we are going to speak about the narrative essay. Now look at the plan. First of all, we should know what is a narrative essay, and then what should be included in a narrative essay. Also, we can look through the structure. The first question, what is a narrative essay? Narrative essay, even though the narrative essay had the same basic form as most other academic essays, it allowed the writer to be more creative than academic essays usually do. And always remember, the most important thing to know about a narrative essay is that it tells a story. And most times the story will be personal and told from your unique perspective and point of view. And also the story you may choose to tell can be about almost anything you would like to share with your readers: school, family, work, relationships, travel, growing up, tragedies, and so on. And a narrative can be told in words, as is often the case, or in other mediums such as photos, films, songs, and cartoons. What should be included in a narrative essay? Now look at, guys, often written in the first person, I or we, because it's based on a personal story, and can also be written in third person, but can never be written in the second person, and has specific sensory details to get the reader hooked on the story, and is developed in chronological order. Also, we should pay attention that it's important to remember that in a narrative essay, something always happens, and it can be a single important moment and what lead up to that moment, or it can be a series of important events that serve a greater purpose. And how should we plan a narrative essay? Now, pay attention to the planning of the narrative essay, students. First of all, write a thesis statement, just as with any other essay. Then brainstorm for a personal story or observation that illustrates or proves the thesis statement. And also outline or web the important parts of the story to be told. And write an introductory paragraph that included the basic statement, and then write the story. Because this is a story, use as many paragraphs as necessary to tell the story. And the last thing, you should write the conclusion that reflects on the basis statement. Every time we should pay attention to the several important elements when we make up a story. First of all, setting. What is the setting? Setting is the location where the action in a story happens. And the second thing is theme, the basic idea of the story. And very often the theme will deal with a topic that is common in life or human nature, and such as greed, envy, love, independence, and so on. And the third thing is the mood. The mood is the feeling or atmosphere that the writer creates for the story. And it could be happy or hopeful, suspenseful, or scary. And both the setting and descriptive vocabulary create the mood in a narrative. Now you can see the picture setting. The setting of the story often answers two of the central questions of the story. The first one, namely, we can say where, and the second one is when. And the answers to these important questions will often be informed by the type of the story the student is writing. And the setting of the story can be chosen to quickly orientate the reader, or to type of the story when they are reading. Also, we should look through the characters. Who are they? Characters are the people in the story. They are reflected by the mood and they react to the events in which they are involved. And then also we should pay attention to the plot. And plot, this is what happens in the story. That is the sequence of events we can see, and the plot often includes a climax or a turning point at which the characters or events change, and an effective narrative essay includes these elements. And characters, they are the beings who inhabit in our stories. Sometimes they are actual people, but just often they are animals, dragons, as you know, and we can say even inanimate objects. For example, we can say consider the spoon or dish or clock from the Disney, like that, Beauty and the Beast. And in this picture, you can see the plot. As you know, the plot is what happens in the story, the series of events, and this happened, then this happened, then this happened. And the climax. What is climax? The climax of the story is the dramatic high point of an action, and it is also when the struggles kicked off by the problem come to the heat. And the climax will ultimately decide whether the story will have a happy or tragic ending. Every time when we begin to write narrative essay, first of all, you should have some information about introduction. When we begin to write introduction, we should know what is introduction and what should we write in an introduction. The introduction is the paragraph that begins your story. And this is where you describe the setting, introduce the characters, then prepare the reader for the action to come. And of course, the introduction should have a hook and a thesis. And narrative hook. Narrative hook, what is it? Usually the first sentence or two that grabs reader's attention. And hooks are especially important in narrative essays because they help set the stage for the story. And the hook makes readers start guessing about what will happen next. And as we told above, the thesis, usually the thesis states the main idea of the essay and tell the organization of the information will be. And however, in a narrative essay, the thesis introduces the action that begins in the first paragraph of the essay. Then comes the body, as we know. The body of your narrative essay consists of most of the plot, yes? The supporting information, and the action in the plot can be organized in many different ways. For example, we can say chronological or time order in this method. Each paragraph gives more information about the story, yes? And the last stage, this is writing the conclusion. The conclusion, like academic essays, narrative essays need to have concluding ideas. In the concluding paragraph, you finish describing the action in the essay. The final sentence can have two functions. The first function is it can deliver the moral for the story or tell the reader what the characters learned from the experience. And the second function, it can make a prediction or a revelation, or we can say disclosure of something that was not known before about future actions that will happen as a result of the events in the story. Now our lesson has finished. I think you've got a lot of maybe enough information for writing a narrative essay. Then your task will be to examine or to write a narrative essay. Thank you for your attention.